Can you tell us a bit about your journey with te reo?
I'm a product of kohanga reo, of kura kaupapa Māori, of whare kura. So this is all I know. And when I had tamariki, my oldest is 8 now, so it's been 8 years in kohanga reo and kura kaupapa Māori. It was only natural for me to put my tamariki back into the same movement, to the same kaupapa that I was born and raised into.
There is a lot of research that I've seen that shows tamariki Māori thrive when they are grounded in where they come from and who they are and their whakapapa, and kura can be the tuapapa of that, right?
Yeah, we only have to look at the facts and the stats, and that tells us that they are doing well. What's disheartening is that so many of our tamariki Māori aren't in that system, and so they aren't part of these stats and these facts. And when our tamariki miss out, so too do the whānau, you know, do parents and grandparents. And so, yeah, tuku ngā tātou tamariki ki te kura, ki te kohanga.
Well, that's something I want to talk about. Lots of people want to send their kids to kohanga, they want to send them to kura, but for some people it's just not possible because there's so many barriers.
Yeah, I moved from Tāmaki Makaurau from Auckland to Palmerston North to get my tamaiti into kohanga reo, because the reality was that she just wasn't going to get in because of the waiting list, because of the demand, and that's the commitment that we as a whānau had to make, was that I had to move from Tāmaki to Palmerston North. And while I want to celebrate that so many whānau want to get into kohanga reo and kura kaupapa Māori, the reality is that the waiting lists are so long. You know, I'm talking 2, 3, 4 years.
So why are waiting lists so long?
Because of the lack of funding, the lack of resources, the lack of support. There's just not enough kohanga. There's not enough teachers to run these kohanga. There's not enough pūtea to be able to run these kohanga.
So what advice would you have for these parents who don't have reo at home, who are trying to bring that reo back through their tamariki and sending them to kohanga but can't get in?
My biggest advice is he mea nui te taiao. Your environment is vital. We can't think that kohanga reo and kura kaupapa Māori are there to teach our tamariki reo Māori. That is something that we as parents do at home.
Oh, he rapi.
There's a saying ko te kāinga, te kura tuatahi o te tamaiti, that the home is the first education space of our tamariki, and so the commitment to this kaupapa begins at home.
Really beautiful. And Kara knows this because pretty much every time she's on the project and we're in the mock-up room, I'm like, oh, thinking about this very thing. I really, really wanted Nico to go to a kohanga reo. I went to kohanga when I was a bubba. I wanted that experience for her. But the waiting list was the first thing. The hours was the second thing, like being able to drop her off and then have to pick her up at 3 p.m. and then you got to commit to being full-time. It just ended up being such a big headache for our whānau that it hasn't happened. I didn't do it.
Yeah. Did you not hear the story there? She moved her family from Auckland to Palmerston North. Why can't you do that?
Where is your commitment?
If the project would consider making me the Palmerston North correspondent, I would do it.
I know Jeremy Corbett will be into moving the whole show there, but I'm going to veto.
I did love what she said, though, that for people like you who haven't been able to get their kids into kohanga reo or kura kaupapa, there's lots of things you can do at home. You can watch all the Disney movies in te reo Māori now. There's lots of things on YouTube, there's books, and any kind of little bit that you can do to increase the reo in their life is going to help in the long run.
And it's true, it does kind of like, it makes you recommit to that. Like I was like, oh, we've got that book at home. Like I can read to Nico in Māori or talk to Nico in Māori. I'd never speak to Kara in Māori because speaking to grown-ups is too scary when you're still learning. But speaking to your 2-year-old, cool.
Yeah.
Most of the time they don't even know what you're saying or if you're making any sense anyway. That's fine.